So today we're going to talk about stewardship. And the Bible includes a lot of verses about how we are to live our lives, which I'm sure most of you are aware of, whether it's loving our neighbour, turning the other cheek, being a holy people, tending the Garden of Eden. These are all good things for us to strive towards. And this morning we're going to be talking about stewardship in a Christian context, what it means and how we do it. So stewardship is faithfully taking care of the things that God has entrusted to us. So what kind of things is that? That's going to be your relationships, our relationship with God, with our family, with our friends, how we steward our money, whether we're a generous giver. It's about how we use our time. Are we wasting it, or are we faithfully using it with a servant heart? How are we caring for the environment, the earth that God has given us to look after? And how are we interacting with the rest of humanity? Which is quite big, really. And going back to those Bible verses, of loving our neighbour, of being holy, of turning the other cheek, I find it quite overwhelming and an impossible standard that to strive for or reach. And of course it is, because only God has attained, only Jesus has ever attained that standard. Michael Mosley realised that people often fail because everything's too big to do it. So instead of changing everything, he encouraged people to start with just one thing. So I don't know if you've heard his podcast. His whole series was just one thing. So if you could do one thing, it would make a difference. And I listened to his program on drinking water. Now, we all know that we're supposed to drink water. And because of my health problems, I was trying to be super, super healthy and drink water every day. So some people do it because they carry around a water bottle and they have a target of how much they're going to drink. So I was listening to all this advice and over the years never drank any water. So I thought, this is okay, I drink a lot of tea, but I'm not drinking water, and water's good to detox. And so I was thinking, I still haven't got it. I'm trying, I haven't got it. And then I listened to his podcast on Just One Thing on Water, and he got a guy to have a glass of water with each of his 3 meals. That was it, just one thing, one glass of water with a meal. And he said, if you do that, it's enough water. That's as much as you need. And I listened to it and thought, oh, I could do that. So that's just one thing. So I literally, it's like, so I have a meal, I have whatever I'm drinking with a meal, and then I have a glass. So I have 2 coasters. So sometimes I sit down and there's only one thing, there's just a glass of wine, and I think, oh, there's an empty coaster. And clearly it's not for the second glass of wine. So I better go and get the glass of water. So that's it, I did it. And that was months ago. I now have sufficient water a day. I might have other glasses, obviously, but I have my 3. And I thought, isn't that an incredible thing? Just one thing, and I'm finally drinking, after years, the water I need. So today's theme is about just one thing, but in a Christian context. And I'm just going to pick out a few ideas. I bet quite a few of them already do, well, quite a few of you already do them. They're all easy to start. So the first thing is compliments. And sadly, she's not here this week. Last week, well, actually the week before last, I had my hair cut for my son's wedding, and it was too short. I really didn't like it. I'm over 60. It was just too short. So I felt quite bad. It was like I was having a bad hair day every day. Looked in the mirror and thought, that's not good. Bad hair day. And last Sunday, came to church, sat in front of Desi. She leant forward and she went, I love your hair. It looks really good. That wasn't just a compliment. That is you've just changed my perception of how I feel, how I look. Isn't that amazing? And it was obviously she spoke from her heart. It was true. She did like my hair. I don't think she thought, oh, that looks awful. I better tell her it looks good. That's not how Desi is. So how lovely. I went home. I'm still on it. I'm still on a bit of a high. It was like, I got nice hair. I felt really good about it. And my friends, Colin and Sadie Barnes, their daughter Emmy, who's on the autistic spectrum, she has a habit of telling everybody exactly what she thinks in terms of positivity. So she'll come up and go, Jonathan, I really like that shirt. That colour really suits you. And off she toodles, leaving behind somebody with a smile. It's adorable. It's such a lovely trait because she's not... she hasn't got any inhibitions. She'll do it. She'll just run up to people and go, you're looking great today, Robin. I really love you. And off she'll toodle. And it's just a little, she spreads joy. And because she did that, I started doing it too. I thought, do you know what? I only do it honestly, so I don't make things up. But as I go out walking every day, if I'm walking along and somebody's coming towards me and I think, oh, that's a nice skirt, then I'll say to them, I love your skirt. And then you can see them going, oh, thank you. Sometimes they look at their husband as if to go, see, I told you it was a lovely skirt. But it's just a little joy. It's such a nice thing. So, such an easy thing. I must say for the guys, might be a bit creepy if you go around going, I love your top. So maybe think about it before you start it. But the number of times people are really happy to just receive a compliment. And I wondered why that happens. And I think it's probably because nowadays, genuine encouragement is quite rare. So it makes a big difference. Right. We spend a lot of time thinking about what's wrong in the world, whereas a simple, you look great, or you did that really well, stays for somebody, costs us nothing, and it just says, you've been noticed. The other thing that I do nowadays, turned into my mother, is I talk to strangers. My mum used to do that all the time, and actually, my mum's generation, I think, did it more anyway. So if I'm on a walk, I always say hello. Walking past, hello, hello, hello. It's a habit. And if you go on a walk and everybody says hello, it feels quite nice. If you go on a walk and everybody just walks past ignoring you, not so nice. I'll happily chat at the bus stop. I'll chat in stores, chat in a queue. I think we're becoming a society that doesn't acknowledge each other. So we sit in a waiting room and we look at our phone and we stand in a queue and we don't talk. And then if you just get a smile, you think, oh, it's nice. Back in 1999, New Year's Eve, for those of you who remember it, I was up in London with my boyfriend at the time. And we were on the embankment to see the lovely fireworks. And back then it wasn't ticketed. The reason they brought in the ticketing is because of what happened then, because there was a crash. And they were just letting people in, and there was nowhere for the people to go. So it got worse and worse. And back then I was quite timid, and I got scared quite easily. But it was genuinely dangerous. So I started to do oh, this is awful, we're going to die. Oh, and I'm being squashed by all these strangers. I bet somebody's going to stab me. I genuinely, as we were pushing in with all these people, never met them before, they're not looking happy, neither was I, and we're all pushing, and I thought, I'm going to get stabbed, or they're going to steal my handbag. This is just awful. What a way to start the new millennium. And then there were some children. And so somebody shouted, we've got kids here, we've got kids down here, we need to fix it. And suddenly, everybody was like, right, we've got kids. Okay, if you move, yeah. If we squeeze it, yeah. And suddenly everybody was working together. We got enough space to get the kids up on shoulders. And they were all like, phew, that was quite near. And it was a community. It's like, these aren't people who are going to stab me. These are lovely people who are working to help these children out. And I was really surprised that just by the interaction, it went from, these are people I don't trust and I'm scared of, to, oh no, these are people that are in the same boat as me and we're all trying to help each other. And these are lovely people. Nobody's going to stab anyone. But I was really surprised that it wasn't a big interaction. It's not like we sat down and had a meal. It was just a little, we're all trying to now help each other, all sorted. Nice humanity. So it's about community. The other thing, I'm just dotting about, and the reason I'm dotting about deliberately is because I think compliments, that's one thing. Talking to strangers, that's another. There are millions of little just one things that we can do. So my next dotting about is looking after the environment. It's been entrusted to us. So whether that is picking up a piece of litter, recycling a little bit more carefully, hanging out the washing, not using the tumble dryer, using less water, any of those. When I do those things, some of them I do better than others. I don't pretend I'm changing the planet. I don't think it's, that's going to make the difference. Look at me, I picked up a can. It's all right now, God. But what I do think is that creation's important and it's been entrusted to us to look after it. And every little, just one thing we do is one thing we've done. The other just one thing is sometimes it's not about doing things, it might be not doing things, stop doing something, resisting temptation, not joining in with gossip, maybe not interrupting someone, not hooting at that idiot who cut in front of you. I used to, when I was working, on the way to work, I would pray. That's when I did my daily prayers. And I'll tell you, the number of days that I'd be driving along, God, I'm just praying that for my son, please keep him safe and healthy. Bless his... Oh, you idiot! For goodness sake! Cut up. Yes, as I was saying, God, if you wouldn't mind. And it would be constant. Now, the interesting thing is, I'm not a huge rage person behind a wheel. If somebody cuts me up, I will go, oh, what an idiot. What I won't do is this. I think that's a bit rude. So I resist. Sometimes I want to. I don't often hoot unless it's a proper I'm here, because that's what hooting means. It means I'm here. Doesn't mean how dare you do that. It means I'm here. Have you seen me? So I don't tend to hoot at people. I don't tend to wave my arms or worse. I resist that temptation. But I used to think what an awful person I was for having the thought, how dare you cut me up? And then I'd be like, oh God, I'm really sorry. Sorry, I'm even praying to you and I think horrible things. But that's okay, we're human. We're not Jesus, we're not God. We're okay to think horrible things and then tell ourselves, no, that's not how we behave. And that's what I do. So I've been thinking, how could you do that? And I can't help it, I'm human. Whereas now I think, oh no, I'm all right. I thought it. I know I shouldn't have thought it, and then I did not act on it. And that's what Jesus did in the desert. He was tempted. If he wasn't tempted, if he genuinely did no, not for me, I'm not interested, then that wasn't temptation, was it? That was just stuff. So the things that, I don't eat cheese. If somebody says, oh, aren't you tempted to have cheese? It's like, no, I don't eat it. That's not me going, oh, you're so clever, you're so good to resist eating cheese. That's I don't eat it. If I think I want to do something and I don't do it and it was bad, that's actually good, not bad. So if you resist temptation, you're doing well. And you should recognize yourself for doing well. I've just got back from being on holiday with my aunt for 2 weeks. And as I say, I have noticed now that I'm focusing on what I'm failing at. I'm not focusing on what God would focus on, which is the things that I succeed at. And I noticed that when we're on holiday, my aunt and I were both helpful people. So if we saw somebody who needed some help, one of us would often help. But I would do it, can I pick that up for you? And Penny would then say, oh, well done. You've done your good deed for the day. And I'd think, oh, yeah, I guess so. And I thought, I focus on all the things I don't do. So if I see somebody a bit late, maybe a mum with a pushchair, and I haven't rushed to help her up a stair, I think, oh, Boltwood, you're so useless. How could you not have seen and met that need? Whereas my aunt focuses on, I just did a good thing. So it became a bit of a joke during that holiday that we'd do well, that's one good thing. We helped that man in a wheelchair. And then it would be, oh, that's another good thing. We picked up her handbag. Ooh. So we went through, and I thought, how good's this? It's a really positive, not doing a big thing. It's not like we gave up a day of our holiday or anything. Just the odd little thing, and people being very happy that they've been helped, which I always am if I'm helped. And imagine if every person in this church today chose just one small act of encouragement, whether that's a compliment, a smile, a conversation with somebody who looks a bit lonely. Can you imagine by the end of the year, our community would have experienced thousands of tiny little moments of kindness. So my message on stewardship this week, don't become a different person. You're all brilliant people. Don't try to steward everything perfectly. Just ask God, Lord, what's my just one thing? It's probably different for each of us. It might be generosity, might be caring for creation, might be noticing people around you. Don't have to all do the same thing. But could you imagine what it would be like if every one of us faithfully did the one thing that God asked us to do this week? In Zechariah, chapter 4, verse 10, we're told, do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin, which I thought was beautiful. It's like, that's me. I'm a beginning. I'm not an ending. I'm not perfect. I'm not doing it very well most of the time. But I do the small things. So perhaps this week we're not worried about doing everything. We just want to ask, Lord, what's my thing? And then we begin.